Thanks for tuning into Dirty Teeth and welcome back to the channel. So here's the scoop. These are probably the Gucciest fat bike wheels known to humankind. They are the limited edition, made in Minnesota fat bike wheels featuring head carbon rims, custom Onyx hubs, and Ultralight Berd spokes. You guessed it, all three companies are Minnesota strong. So how did I happen upon this $3,200 wheel set? Yes, they retail for $3,200 and I'm glad you asked. Last year I went to Fat Bike World Champs in Pinedale, Wyoming. Remember that super fun video I made with the ice bar and all that fun stuff?
Oh, is that your cooter? Can I fetch your cooter?
Well, I recommend watching it if you haven't. What is this thing like? It's like a harp. I'm like a harpist. Anyway, my great friend KC wound up winning these in the post-ride raffle. Boom.
KC, you're the future, baby! Love you, homie!
We're not quite sure what happened after that, but it took almost a year for him to take possession. And now they're finally here. KC graciously allowed me to unbox these and delve into full geek out mode with you guys. Inside the custom black box were of course the wheels. They also came with head inflato bands, setup instructions, spare nipple washers, a Berd water bottle, and a Berd spoke holding tool, which I'll touch on in a minute. A few general notes about these wheels. This is the second year they've been offered. They initially dropped in December 2020 and were only offered until January 15th, 2021. At that time, they were touted as the lightest fat bike wheels on the planet. Advertised weight of the 26-inch wheel set was 1,740 grams. I'm sure they got hounded by weight weenies arguing about a few other offerings that are slightly lighter. HED's website still claims the lightest fat bike wheels in the world based on their own wheel sets built around their in-house hubs. But with regard to the second gen made in Minnesota's, they've now stopped touting them as the lightest. The current weight is now listed at 1,990 grams, 250 more than the first iteration. I read on Bike Rumor that HED updated the carbon layup for more strength, and this accounts for the added weight. These wheels don't use rim strips or tubeless tapes, so you also have to factor in those weight savings. If you're curious, the set I have in front of me has a standard 15 by 150 spacing in the front and 12 by 197 in the rear. The set comes in at 1,998 grams total on my park scale. 864 grams for the front wheel and 1,134 for the rear wheel. Regardless of getting nitpicky over gram counting, these wheels remain pretty dang special. First up, the rims. If you haven't heard of HED, they started making carbon fiber wheels back in 1984. They make products for all cycling disciplines and were early adopters of the fat biking revolution. Their big deal carbon fat rims jumped on the scene in 2013. They've remained pretty much unchanged at the top of the sport since then. The distinct style of the ribbed, one-piece, single-wall, full carbon rims are impossible not to recognize. They currently weigh about 565 grams each, have an internal width of 81.5 millimeters, and are designed around tires 3.8 inches or wider. These are the exact same rims found on the standard big deals, except for the spiffy Northern Lights decals, which by the way, the camera doesn't do justice to. FYI, these are the 26-inch big deals. The made in Minnesota wheels are also offered with 27.5-inch rims called big half deals. I've always found this confusing, as I'd assume half deal would mean half the width, like a 40 mil plus wheel or something. In actuality, they're exactly as wide as the big deals. But at 27.5, they're halfway between 26 and 29-inch wheels, hence the name. Did I lose you there? Me too. Anywho, these are time tested and among the strongest, lightest, and easiest to set up tubeless fat bike rims on the market. The next piece of the puzzle are the Onyx fat bike hubs. Two things caught my eye off the get-go. First, the color shifting black aura finish is pretty fantastic. Depending on how light hits the pro specs, they can appear black or purple or green or any combo. They also match up nicely with the decals on the rims. It's worth noting this color option is available on other stock Onyx hubs as well. Hold on, stop the presses. Just before uploading this video, I got a hold of Dan at Onyx. He let me know the color of these hubs is not black aura. These actually use a special pearlescent combo called Prismatic Universe, which is only being used on these limited edition hubs. More importantly, I was struck by the custom flanges. These were designed specifically for the Berd spokes, which I'll get to next. This elevates these hubs to pieces of art, and it's the first time I've seen any hubs of this nature in person. Otherwise, they're pretty much stock Onyx hubs, which are still feature-packed. Oops, I stand corrected again. Although they are feature-packed, these are not the stock classic fat bike hubs. They're a complete redesign spawned specifically for these wheels. Onyx took many cues from their lighter weight Vesper line of hubs while maintaining the robustness necessary for the rigors of fat biking. These hubs have a smaller diameter and slightly smaller bearings than the classic fat bike hubs. This helps shed some weight. This front hub also has a unique bearing preload adjuster similar to their Vesper rear hub. This is currently not offered on any other hub in their lineup. They chose center lock rotor mounts, which goes along with all other head wheels and keeps the weight down a little bit. If you're thinking of getting these, make sure you have center lock rotors and lock rings or 6-bolt adapters. All Onyx hubs use ceramic hybrid bearings, and the rear showcases their Sprag clutch technology. For the layman, the rear hub is absolutely silent and has instantaneous engagement. You hear that? Shh, 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 shh. Silencio, por favor. If you've never enjoyed an Onyx rear hub, it's truly a pleasure to ride. The peace and quiet, especially for snow riding, is very zen-like, and the zero lag power transfer is oh so nice. This one features a SRAM XD driver body, but it's also available with a Shimano microspline. Onyx hubs don't use oil, and the Kluber grease they spec in the bearings is rated all the way down to -50 Celsius and is very low drag. So there's no need to repack special grease for winter expeditions like the ITI, and they won't seize up on you. Onyx hubs have a reputation for being bomber in all riding conditions. The only knock other than the hefty price tag is their hefty weight. The rear hub alone is listed at 533 grams. For comparison, a DT350 Big Ride is around 300 grams. I'm gonna jump in with one last update. The classic Onyx rear fat bike hub is 533 grams, but the made in Minnesota rear hub is actually 435 grams, which makes it 98 grams lighter. In addition, Onyx provided me with the weight of the made in Minnesota front hub, which is actually 148 grams. For comparison, their standard fat front hub is 281 grams. If you're keeping track of the math, the limited edition hubs are 231 grams lighter than the standard fat bike hub set. I figured that was worth mentioning. The Onyx hubs are laced to the head rims via Berd black Polylite spokes. These aren't the traditional steel spokes you're used to. Instead, they look more like spaghetti noodles until they're laced and tensioned up. They're made of UMPWI. You heard me correctly. UMPWI stands for ultra high molecular weight polyethylene. That was a mouthful. They are currently the lightest spokes in the world, and if you beg to differ, let me know in the comments below. They only weigh 2.5 grams per spoke. This can easily save you 100 to 250 grams per wheel set over various steel spokes. I'll put a link in the description to weight comparisons that Noble Wheels has done with specific spokes. It's pretty cool. Even though they're feather light, get it, bird, feather? Come on, give me one. They have 12 times the strength to weight ratio of steel spokes. Furthermore, Berd claims 200% better vibration dampening than metal spokes, which translates to more ride comfort. They also retail for $8 a spoke. Definitely an investment. If you're curious, they have a 1.8 millimeter diameter in the middle, similar to most double-butted steel spokes. They also use 14 gauge threads, so they made up with standard nipples. Berd specs 16 millimeter double square secure locking nipples for all their builds. They usually go with alloy nipples, but opted for heavier brass versions for these fatties. Andrew at Berd told me it's because brass holds up better than aluminum when sitting in sealant. And since head rims don't use tubeless tape or rim strips, it makes sense. The spokes are brought up to tension and trued easiest with a park tool like this one from inside the rim. I won't get into the whole wheel building process, but there's a couple things worth noting. Spoke tension should read around 12 on your part gauge and be nice and even between all the spokes. It can be a little tough to get consistent readings, so make sure you're in the middle of the spoke and play around with different angles. I checked these wheels out as I do with all new wheels, and they were right in range. If you do need to true them, you have to use the included Berd spoke holding tool to make sure the spokes don't spin. If you don't want to take the tire off the rim to true them, or you're out on an adventure like a bike packing trip, you'll also need a low profile spoke wrench that plays nice with a spoke holding tool. Some multi-tools with an included size 0 spoke wrench will work, but nicer shop wrenches won't. The one on my trusty Crank Brothers M17 does not work. In this case, it's easiest just to use Berd's own low profile spoke wrench. They only sell these as part of their complete wheel truing kit on their website, but they told me you should be able to order one separately from your local bike shop. If you need spare spokes, you can also get them from your bike shop or directly from Berd. And Berd can help you get correct spoke lengths if you don't have them. So if you get the specialty tools and a couple spare spokes and nipples, it's pretty much the same as servicing traditional spokes and wheels. Enough said. So, are these the baddest fat bike wheels out there? Obviously, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and it depends on what your intentions are with them. They're definitely a great conversation piece, and you're not too likely to see others wearing the same wheels while you're shredding your local trails. My 2 cents, they are top of the crop both functionality-wise and with aesthetics. But if you're gonna slap a $3,200 price tag on some wheels and market them as the best around, you gotta be prepared to have them scrutinized. They're definitely not the lightest wheels around. So if that's your ultimate goal, you can get similar wheels that are lighter for less money. Speaking of, stock head carbon wheel sets based on their Brickhouse hubs are actually a few grams less than the made in Minnesotas. And they retail for $2,000. Yep, that's $1,200 cheaper than these. Another option are the alloy versions. These happen to be the HED big aluminum half deals, which retail for $1,100. I weighed them, and this 27.5 wheel set is only 236 grams more than the carbon made in Minnesota 26-inch wheel set. They offer pretty much the same features as their carbon siblings, but at only a third of the price. Definitely food for thought. Also, if you're gonna ride these wheels at consistently low tire pressures like 5 psi or under, they're prone to burping. It even says on the rim, minimum 8 psi. If soft snow is your jam, you'll need to add fatty strippers or some kind of split tube setup to help maintain the bead. So throw that in the hopper, as it could add extra hassles to your system. Now maybe I'm a cheapskate, but a couple other small things irked me a bit, and purely because of the $3,200 premium price tag. They surely could have included a pair of tubeless valve stems, right? Maybe even with some blingy color changing accents. That's extra loot and inconvenience that you as the customer have to deal with. Another consideration could have been some lock rings for the center lock hubs. Many CL rotors come without, and most folks are probably switching over from 6-bolt systems. So some lightweight rotor lock rings or some 6-bolt adapters would have been thoughtful. Again, they could have blinged them with some matching color as well. Finally, due to the proprietary nature of the spokes, I hope they would have included 1 or 2 spares. These wheels use Berd 273s and 275s, which you're not likely to find in your local bike shop. You can't just walk in and have them cut them for you. I also feel like they easily could have included the Berd truing tool in addition to the spoke holding tool. I ordered a couple spokes and a wrench from Berd after the fact, and their service was great, don't get me wrong. But it's extra time, energy, and $40 out of your pocket to dial in a system that, in my opinion, is priced to be ready to go for winter fat biking expeditions. At the least, they should offer an upgrade kit with all the extra knickknacks for $50 or something. This way you don't have to do the legwork on your own. But then again, what do I know? I just ride bikes and smile. So there you have it. The limited edition made in Minnesota collab wheels between Onyx, Berd, and HED. I'm super curious to read your thoughts and questions in the comments below. If you gleaned anything useful from this video, please give us a like. I upload fresh bike packing and mountain biking content every week, so please consider subscribing to the channel and tapping the notification bell. Pretty please also think about joining our campaign of giving called Trail Magic Monday on Patreon. Until next time, ride bikes, give back, pay it forward. Thanks so much for squeezing dirty teeth into your busy schedule. Please help us reach more people and ensure you receive new videos by giving this video a like, subscribing to the channel, and clicking the notification bell. Until next time, ride bikes, give back, pay it forward.